So, RedArmy.tv gets out on the road. It's the big Red Army sup-in at the Navigation pub.
Changed the format, didn't he? Changed the team. Absolutely fantastic.
Up the Well, welcome to a different RedArmy.tv. We're not in the usual place, we're in the Navigation pub, but the faces don't alter. Alan Geddes is with us, former referee in these parts, but a big Borough fan. Alan, welcome back.
Nice to see you again, Dave.
Nice to see your pint on the table as well. We don't do that when we normally do this programme, but we do like it. Right, let's get straight into it. Spurs, 1-0 defeat. Performance-wise, Al, it was another backs against the wall, defensive performance. Were you happy with that?
I think we're getting used to it now. We're seeing it quite regularly, you know, from our team, that we seem to be adopting this attitude of we won't get beat, or we will, you know, we'll try our best not to get beat, and we don't just seem to be attacking enough, and that's the problem. We just seem to sit deep, invite pressure, and you know that in the Premier League, you invite pressure and you sit back, you're going to concede goals. You know, just to concede one, yeah, people will say, great, we only got beat 1-0 by Spurs, who were pushing for for the title, but we still got beat, and
well,
you know.
You said we know that. If you know that, why are we still doing it?
Well, this is the big question across Middlesbrough Teesside. You know, it just appears that Karanka is just stuck in this formation of playing one up front, and it's not working. We can see that. The fans can see that. The pundits on Match of the Day can see it. But Karanka, for some reason, is having a little bit of blinkered vision, and will stick to his guns and wants to. I don't know what he's trying to prove. I don't know, but at the moment we're in a precarious position.
We'll come back to the season and the general performance across the 24 games so far a bit later on. Let's zoom in on Spurs a little bit more. Traore again looked as though he's exciting. We were talking just in the last few weeks about how he seems to be learning as well and developing as a player. So it was good to see him, even though Spurs are up there towards the top of the Premier League. Good to see him taking them on.
I was pleased because I will tell you that throughout January his performance seemed to improve it increased dramatically in January, and being a pessimist, I thought that there was the January transfer fever hitting him. You know, I thought he was sort of putting those performances in to show, you know, the other clubs out there that how
too
good
soon,
he was. Yeah.
Surely, too soon in his Borough career.
I really thought that
he's not Gaston Ramirez.
I know, but I really did think that was happening. But it was nice to see him actually still carrying on that in February. I know we're only the early part of February, but yes, I think he's an exciting talent. I think he is doing more of the right things now, and he can only get better. But he has to play consistently. I think, you know, he might not last 90 minutes, and I think that's proved in a couple of games, but give him the chance, because look, he excites the fans. He, you know, puts teams under pressure. He's different,
and he's starting to knock a decent ball in now.
Yeah, and
that's one big improvement.
He's getting the end product, which is ultimately what we want from him. Go down to the byline, cross the ball into the middle, and hopefully someone's there in the middle to put it in the back of the net. Somebody
rather cruelly during the week said to me that the reason why we're not scoring goals is he's now whipping them across the box, but we don't expect him to. But there you go, that's another man. Victor Valdez, we've got to talk about it. The scuffle with Dele Alli. You're a ref. I'm a ref. Sticking your hand in someone's face, giving it a push and a prod. Was he lucky to get away with it?
I think very lucky, by the laws of the game, and we know because it's talked about on TV afterwards, but if a player raises his hand, we always say above the shoulders, so if it is the face area and he uses a push, a shove, whatever, it's a red card offence. So, you know, unless the referee didn't see it or the assistant referee didn't see it from his position, I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuse up for referees, but as far as I was concerned as a referee, if I had been in that game and saw that incident at that time, I would have issued a red card.
You're harsh, but probably correct.
But correct.
Harsh. Northern League, wasn't it, where you used to upset everybody?
Yes.
Was he foolish? Was it stupidity? Because losing Valdez at this stage of the season for 3 games could cost us massively, couldn't it? Could it?
Well, he's again has shown some decent form in the past 4 or 5 matches. I think before Christmas, there was a lot of people calling for his head and that he shouldn't be in there. But I think he's turned that corner now, and I think he's improving game by game. He's an international keeper at the end of the day, and he is where he is, or he's got a track record behind him of success. So why wouldn't you want him in your goal? And the record that we've got is we've got one of the best defensive records. I'm not saying that's down purely to Valdez. He's got some good defenders in front of him, but that's something that he will be working on in terms of trying to keep that defensive record as good as it is at the moment until the end of the season.
Well, it's not just us two on the show. We've got Joe Nicholson out there as well. Joe, have you got any comments to make on what you think from the Spurs game perspective? Anybody there who wants to make a point?
I was there on Saturday, along with another short of 3,000 fans, and it didn't offer anything for the Middlesbrough fan. I thought. I mean, people were saying we had a really good defensive performance. I don't think we did. I thought Tottenham found a lot of gaps behind our defence. I really did. Espinosa's looking really, really shaky. If it wasn't for Valdez, we'd have been 3 or 4 goals down. I thought it wasn't a great performance, and I wasn't coming out away from there thinking, "Oh, nice when we only got beat 1-0 by Tottenham." It wasn't good to watch at all.
All right, thanks for that one. Anybody else out there who wants to make a point at any point in time during the programme, just give Joe a tap, a wave, a shout, and we'll get your points on board. Just having a look at some of the tweets that have been fired in regarding Spurs, and you might not be surprised at some of these. Vector Borough says, let's have a Borough group hug to celebrate. We only lost 1-0. Mark Walker, can't fault the lads for effort today. They gave 100% on that pitch. For all you Karanka outers, if Darun had put the ball in, it would have been a tactical genius. I don't know about that, like. Richard Lord Boyer, Karanka is a tactical genius. The way he defends a 1-0 deficit is commendable. And Rob Scott, I'm not sure whether we'll stay up or not. It really does boil down to when the penny drops for AK that we might need to be a bit braver. Are you surprised at some of the comments?
Not at all. We're all passionate about our team. That we love and we follow because we love that team. And I think we're all seeing exactly the same picture, that we're not attacking enough. We're sticking to this formation. And because of that, you've got to blame one person, which is the manager, because it's the manager that picks the team, the personnel and the formation that we play in. But it's not working, and every week we keep on hearing the same things. Look, we'll learn from that, and we'll learn from our mistakes, and we'll get better the next week. Well, that hasn't happened now, and it hasn't happened for quite a while. So, it doesn't at all, from a point of view of the comments that are coming through, that it doesn't surprise me at all that they're saying what they're saying.
But at the end of the day, and we'll move more probably after Joe's match report from the Spurs game, but we are 15th, but we're only a point above the relegation zone. We'd be happy if we'd finished the season in that position.
Over the moon. If we finish where we finish now and the season finished tomorrow, then that's it. That's job done, and that's all we need to do. We need to finish out of the bottom 3, and if we finish 4th bottom or 5th bottom, let's be realistic about it. It's our first year back in the Premier League for 7 years, playing in the Championship, which is a different game of football altogether, different mentality, different tactics, different everything. So we would take that, everybody, I think, the whole of Teesside.
Ifs, buts and maybes, isn't it? It's not the end of the season. We've still got quite a few, 14 games to be precise, to go. That'll determine whether we stay in the Premier League or drop down. We'll talk about that after we wrap up the Spurs game. Here's Joe Nicholson, our roving reporter, with his match report.
So it was a 1-0 defeat for Borough on Saturday as they lost away at Tottenham, and I think the general feel was there was no shame in only going down 1-0 to a very good Tottenham side who haven't lost at White Hart Lane all season. However, it was the manner of the defeat which was a little bit worrying. Borough failed to record a shot on target throughout the 90 minutes and rarely looked like scoring, either when the game was goalless or either to get an equaliser when Tottenham did take the lead in the 60th minute. Once again, Borough defended well, very well organised, but Tottenham did get chances. Alderweireld hit the post from a corner, Harry Kane missed a decent header, and eventually they did take the lead from the penalty spot when Bernardo Espinosa brought down Son Heung-min and Harry Kane converted the spot kick. Borough did have a late chance through Martin Darun, and if he'd have put that chance away when the ball dropped to him in stoppage time, it would have been a very good point. However, Borough still appear to not be quite getting the balance right in midfield. Playing the 3 central midfielders really does limit what we can do going forward, and maybe Karanka will have to make a tactical tweak ahead of this weekend's game against Everton.
So thanks for that, Joe. We've put Spurs to bed then, a 1-0 defeat. I suppose not too bad if you're at White Hart Lane against a team who was second in the Premier League, but we still would have liked Daroon to have put that one in and at least given us a share of the spoils like at City and at Arsenal. We've not done too bad at the big grounds, have we? No. Let's have a look, Al, at the season more generally. The transfer window's just closed. 3 biggish names for us by this transfer window standards for the Borough: Bamford, Gusted, Guediora, who I still can't pronounce correctly, but he's from Algeria. We'll call him the Algerian. Good signings, good window or not?
I was listening to a radio station last night.
You can name them, mate. We don't mind.
Talk Sport and listening to Danny Murphy. And, Danny Murphy was saying, he did actually come out with a comment and say, well, look, they were talking about us signing Gusted and Bamford and 2 strikers. So what he did say, and I agree with him in a way, that Karanka's obviously thinking about that we have got a problem up front. We're not scoring goals because he signed 2 strikers. Whatever you believe of their ability or what they can do, etc. at the moment, he's obviously thinking about the fact that we aren't scoring goals by signing those strikers. But
he's got to play them though for them to score.
Well, yeah, I agree that, but he's brought in an extra 2 strikers, so therefore it's playing on his mind. So at some point, I believe that something is going to happen, and because he wouldn't have brought these people in, why would he bring them in? He wouldn't. Is he bringing them in just because we as fans are shouting for them, or because we're saying that we're not scoring goals? He's brought them in for a reason, surely. So from that point of view but then at the same time, Danny might be saying, we were talking about the level of these players in terms of, and he said, well, who would you expect to sign at the Borough? Not in a derogatory way, but look, let's be realistic about it. Who are we? Every club in the Premier League needs a top striker, but there aren't any out there. So you've got to look for these strikers a bit like the Jamie Vardys from last year, that maybe you can develop and make them into that striker, or they become that striker that everybody wants in the Premier League, who's going to score 40,
Should we not
50?
talk about Jordan Rhodes then? All right, then we'll let that one go. I think, Joe, you've got a comment out there regarding transfers?
Yeah, we've got Peter here, and he just wants to make a quick point about Borough's transfer activity in the summer. Peter?
A bit bamboozling, actually, what happened. I go back to a statement the chairman made in the summer, and we bought a few people, and he came out with a great statement. Look, we're going into the Premiership to compete, we're going to challenge, we want to do well, we're not just going there to make up the numbers. I just wonder whether or not they actually told Idor Karanka, because that's not what we're getting off Idor Karanka. We've hardly in any more than 1 or 2 games showed any attacking purpose to any intent at all. The only time in that game on Saturday at Tottenham was from 5 minutes from the end and 3 minutes of injury time, when we threw a few extra people into the box and we got the full backs forward a little bit, and we put probably 5 or 6 crosses into the box, and we had 3 or 4 reasonable attacking chances, the one off Daroon and the overhead kick off Negredo. It's not direct route 1 because we can't play that way. Karanka says that. We don't know how to play that way. Well, I would imagine every player in the country knows how to play route 1. And yet he will not do that. But when we actually did it, to a degree, on Saturday, we created more problems in that last 8 minutes than we had done for the previous 85. So to go on with what David just said, and Alan, if we bought strikers, he's got to change the system, because otherwise we are not going to score any goals. We've got the 4th best defensive record in the league, but it's not going to get us anywhere at all.
Pete, we'll come on to the formation and the goal scoring shortly. Thanks for that, mate. We've got a tweet here from Tony Wathy saying his 2 signings, championship players, never got a game, 16 million. Has he blown our budget? And I think he's talking about Gusted and Bamford in that one. There's an interesting stat here, Al, and I've got to give credit to the Northern Echo for this one. I didn't realise it's not how many goals we've scored; it's to do with shots on target, because we know we've got the worst goals for column in the Premier League table. But the Borough, across the 24 goals of the Premiership season, so this is the entire season so far, have had 56 shots on target. That's it, 56 shots on target. If you don't think that's bad, the second worst attacking team in the Premiership regarding shots on target has 16 more than the Borough. So we don't score goals, but we don't shoot on target that much either.
And to add to that, I know just a figure off the top of my head is Manchester United have had 350 plus chances since the start of the season, because they were talking about them not having a great scoring record in terms of chances. So to have only 56 compared to 356, maybe similar, it's 300 more for Manchester United. There is a problem.
Couple of more tweets that have come in. It was Jack Brody who asked Borough Stats, who does a fine job on Twitter, basically, what's the lowest number of goals scored by a team to stay up? I like positivity, good lad. Fancy us to beat that record if we manage it. The answer was, from Borough Stats, 29, and it was Sunderland, the year they just survived. One of the many years they just survived relegation by the scruff of the neck. And Jack says, OK, that's 12 needed then in 14 games. I don't think we've got that in us, have we?
Well, not at the current rate. Without a doubt, we haven't, no.
We did ask the question on a poll earlier. What key point's going to keep us in the Premier League? Come on, let's get positive. Let's say we're going to stay in the Premier League. What is it that's going to keep us in the Premier League? The options were experience, whether that be the manager, the players, whatever, the club. Just keep on doing what we're doing and we'll be fine. A change of tactics is necessary to keep us in the Premier League, or other teams around us being worse than us effectively will keep us in the Premier League. 51% change of tactics. Nearest one to it, other teams, 23%.
Which are the two?
Got to change the tactics, got to do more than one man up front?
We've got to change the tactics if we are to survive in the Premier League. That's what I believe, and I think that's what anybody who knows anything about football can see. You know, when they talk about it on Match of the Day, when they talk about it on TalkSport, when they talk about it on all of the sports stations, that, you know, from our point of view is we aren't scoring enough goals to stay in the Premier League, and that will be our downfall unless we have a change. You know, it's got to we've got to do something, and I know we were talking earlier. It's either got to be something's going to happen, either an injury or something which his hand is forced, or somebody's going to have to step in and say, look, you're going to have to make a change, and it might be the big fella at the top. I don't know.
Saying,
Gibbo,
let's do it differently. Yeah,
it's got something's got to happen, Dave.
Okay, a couple of tweets. We'll get your views, and we'll get the views here at the Navigation as well. David Parmo Emerson, love the name. It's simple. We're talking what's going to keep us in the Premier League. It's simple. Play two up front. We'll be fine. There's goals in this side if he plays the right system. Thanks for that one, mate. Mick Anthony, a little bit different. What key point will keep us in the Premier League? A miracle. Thanks for that, mate. And Simon, but we should not have to rely on other teams. We should be having a go. So the comments seem to be, you know, keep it within our own hands. Why wait for others to fall at the hurdle? Joe, you've got some more comments out there, maybe on formations.
Yeah, a couple of players that Borough brought in the transfer window. Chris here wants to talk about a player that Borough let go. Jordan Rhodes, Chris.
Yeah, well, just my point is that Jordan Rhodes was never given a chance. So he was a player that was brought in to liven things up at the front. He never ever was given a chance. And what worries me, as well as the two players that have been brought in, Gestead and sorry, I can't remember the other one, and Bamford. With those two players, he's wedded himself to that particular system, because Bamford scored those goals for us in the same position as Negredo did, albeit in the Championship, and Gested's in exactly the same position. So we've got three strikers, all of the same mould, all doing the same thing, and it worries me that we can't really change the system.
No, can we change the system with what we've got?
I think we've got some exciting players, and you know, the West Ham game, I know we got beat 3-1, but the way that we played in that game, with that formation, and I know he changed it slightly towards the end, but we were getting down the lines, we were knocking balls in the middle, we were attacking a lot more, we had a lot more possession, we had probably, out of those 56 shots on target, a lot of them came in that West Ham game, so we can do it, but we need to keep on doing it consistently. We sort of seem to show it a little bit of promise and a little bit of glimmer, and you think, you know, this is it, we've cracked it now, we know how to play this formation to actually be a benefit to the team, and then we just go back to sitting deep and not attacking again. So it's got to change. Something's got to change, and as I said, I don't know whether that is by fluke, by something happening that makes something happen, and that there has to be a change, or somebody steps in and makes a change.
Okay, cheers for that. We've got a toughie to come. Everton at the Riverside. It is a toughie. We'll do more on that very shortly. We're going to break for the news shortly, but Joe, one more comment?
Yeah, we've got Ben here, and he wants to ask you guys at the table a question about the manager. Ben?
So yeah, you're talking a lot about change. You guys have been around the block a bit. Is it time to change the manager? And if so, who would you bring in? Nigel Pearson maybe?
I'll let you answer first.
The problem in today's game is that a lot of clubs, because of the amount of money, etc., and things like that, is that a lot of clubs are very quick to press that button and
Gibbo
and
isn't.
get rid of. And Gibbo isn't. And look, we know that we've got a track record of bringing in managers that are new to the job, or maybe he's new to, and he's prepared to give them a chance and an opportunity to shine and prove that they're good at the job. At this moment in time, I wouldn't want to see Karanka leave the club, because we've got some great players. There's a little bit of tweaking needs to be done. Now, it will happen. I really honestly believe that. I think there's going to be a change shortly, and it will happen somehow. I don't know how.
Can you write me 6 numbers down for the lottery?
But I can see a change happening, because we can't carry on doing what we're doing, and I don't think Karanka is that stupid. He's a footballer. He knows football. He's been a great club. He's learned from Mourinho. Yeah, he might have got his stubbornness from Mourinho, and that could be one of the problems. But I really do believe that by getting rid of the manager and bringing someone else in would be to the detriment of the club and to the team, and we could end up, going out of the Premier League then. So I wouldn't want to do it. I think if you're going to do anything like that and make a change, you've got to do it before that January transfer window, to give that new manager an opportunity to bring in his own players or his own theme. So this isn't the right time. We've got to get over this situation, this problem, and how he does it. As I say, I don't know. I really wish I could, give those answers, but something has got to change.
If you had them, you'd be employed by the club, mate.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Ben, I'm not going to shirk the question. If it's the only thing that would guarantee us staying in the Premier League, and you don't even know that with hindsight, I'd say yes. But I don't want Karanka to go. What I want Karanka to do is, after every game, he talks about lessons to be learnt, and we'll learn and we'll develop from this. I want him to learn those lessons, but I need him to learn them quickly as a manager. I want him to go on to greater things than being at the Borough. Not that there is anything in football, of course. He's going to have to go to the NFL or something. But I want him to develop, and I want him to learn, and I want him to improve so quickly he keeps us in the Premier League. That's what I'd be happy with. I've got a fear he won't. And I've also got the fear that maybe Steve is very loyal, and he will give him till the end of the season to see whether he does it or not, whether he creates this great escape. But we are, let's make no mistake about it, we are the poorest performing team out of the bottom 5 or 6 at the moment on current form. We're on the slippery slope. Others are starting to pick up unpredictable wins, not draws. We're not. We've got to change that very quickly.
Karanka doesn't like change, though, does he?
I don't know whether he doesn't like change. He certainly doesn't like his formation changing.
No.
That's for sure.
Clear.
Whether we need 2 strikers, and a lot of people argue with us after we do each and every show, saying we have got 2 strikers. When Bamford's on, he plays as a striker. Well, he doesn't, and Stuani doesn't. They're not true 2 strikers up front, and that's what Karanka doesn't believe in. These guys come in wide from the right and then join the striker later. So. Fingers crossed we stay in the Premier League, because we have to. It's vital for the club. Thanks for that one. We're going to be talking Everton very shortly, but first of all, here's Chris Story with the news.
Gaston Ramirez kicks us off this week as the Uruguayan returns to the fold. The 26-year-old playmaker is with the Borough squad, who's jetted off to Spain in preparation for the visit of Everton to the Riverside this weekend. Ramirez, who slapped in a transfer request last month, wasn't allowed to leave Teesside. He has been dogged by a knee injury for the last couple of weeks. Whilst on the Spain trip subject, Borough's 3rd goalkeeping coach of the season has joined up with the squad in Marbella. Marcus Abad joins Borough in an interim capacity from the La Liga side Elche, while Leo Persevic continues his recovery from a nightmare Achilles tendon injury. Eric Steele had replaced the Uruguayan, but he had to step down after picking up a knee injury. And finally this week, a quick reminder, if you fancy a decent night out, Red Faction are holding its annual charity night in aid of the Teesside Hospice. It's this Saturday, the 11th of February. Live band Scar Beats will be thrashing out the tunes at Liberties in Middlesbrough. Tickets are £7 and can be obtained from the email address on the screen or by calling John on 07913 976642. That's 07913 976642. And don't forget, if you have any Borough related news, we'd love to plug it. Get in touch. Email us studio@redarmy.tv or via social media at Borough Red Army.
So thanks for that, Chris. Al, almost finished. A tough one ahead. Everton, even though it's at the Riverside, I was going to say we don't have the best of records at the Riverside this season, but we don't have the best of records. That's why we're down there at the moment. Can we win? Can we do it?
We can always win. But we've got to look at form, we've got to look at our current form. But Borough are Borough, and Everton are on a great run at the moment. They've scored a lot of goals. And if there's a team that can do it, it's like the Borough, and then because that's what we do. You know, we go out, when we're not expected to win, we win. When we're expected to win, we don't win. You know, so yes, through rose-tinted spectacles.
The deepest rose-coloured tinted
spectacles. Why not? Why can't we go out there? We've done it before. We've proven. We drew with Arsenal earlier in the season. We drew with Manchester City earlier in the season. We can play to a great level when we apply everything that we need to do.
Everton stuffed Man City for
They did. But at the same time, you know, that you can talk about ifs, buts and maybes, and they'd beat them and he beat them. And
well, hang on, you mentioned current form, didn't you?
Yeah.
So the last loss Everton had was the Merseyside derby in December against Liverpool.
Yeah.
They've played 7 Premier League games since then. Won 5, drawn 2, scored 19 goals. They put 6 past Bournemouth, 4 past Manchester City, and 3 past Southampton.
Okay. So
should we be worried?
No, it's probably going to be a 0-0 draw. the reality of it is, look, that's football, and that's probably what will happen at the weekend. So I'd be happy with a point at home, definitely.
One to watch for. Does it have to be Lukaku?
They've got a lot of players that, you know, Barkley's suddenly, after having a kick up the backside from the manager, he's suddenly hitting a little bit of vein of form again. They've got some great players in the team. I think one of the, you know, I think he's fantastic, is the lad that they got from Swansea, who's just fitted back into the central defence there for Everton. He's just doing a fantastic job, and he's a great player. He's the type of player I'd love to see at the Borough, you know, alongside Gibson. So they've got some great players that you need to look out for, but we have as well. So they'll be worried about some of our players. Traore, without a doubt. I think Traore could cause some problems
if he's let loose.
If
he's let loose. Lukaku frightens me. It's 7 goals in his last 4 games. Any points out there, Joe, regarding Everton and what we face?
Yeah, we've got Peter here, and he's got some thoughts on the Everton game at the weekend.
Yeah, what you said there, Alan, about you'd be happy with a draw. 1 point's not good enough for us. We've got 21 points now. We've got 14 games to go. If we drew all of those games, we're still going down. We've got to get wins.
I agree, Peter.
And we should get wins at home. So we should be thinking, and Karanka should be thinking, I've got to win this game. I don't care who it is he's played, whether it was his old Real Madrid team, he should be saying, I'm going to win this game, because we've got to get wins. If we're going to stay up, we need at least 3 wins, and the rest draws. Yeah. We can't stay up with the thinking we've got at the moment. At the moment, we're going to get relegated the way we're playing, and we're not scoring goals.
No, Peter, you're totally right, and I know that on the TV or something, Sam Allardyce was talking about the situation with his team, and what he said was he mentioned about being below par. We're currently in the Borough. If you look at the Borough, we're 3 points below par. We've played 24 games. We're on 21 points. And what Sam Allardyce says is there's 38 games available. If you get a point every game, you're right, but we've gone over that bit now, as you quite rightly said. If we get a point every game now till the end of the season, 35 points is, it's relegation material. We will go down. We do have to win some games. Jokingly saying, it'll be a 0-0 draw. I'd love to see us, but we're in a situation now. What have we got to lose? we might as well go out and all attack and do a 4-4-2 and do it and see the change. And if we get beat 4 or 5-0 like they've been doing at other teams, well, at least we've given it a go and at least we can see. And I think that's all the Borough fans want. We want to see what it would be like if we actually went into that formation, done it correctly, the proper 4-4-2 formation that we all know and we all got brought up with. If we could do that just for one game for 90 minutes and see what happens, I'd love to see what would happen.
Can I ask, Peter, can I ask you a question? We still have Sunderland to play, we still have Swansea to play, we still have Hull to play, we still have Bournemouth to play. Now, obviously, we've lost a lot of points at home against teams the Borough fans would have thought we should beat, and that's why we're in the position we're in. So if we were to draw on Saturday against Everton, but the mentality changes and we start taking points from the likes of Hull and Sunderland and Swansea, do you think we can stay up?
We've got to win those games against Sunderland and Hull and Swansea. And at the moment, they're playing better than us. They're winning. Their form is better than ours at the moment. So it's a mentality. You've got to say you've got to win your own games.
Do you see the mentality changing between now and the end of the season?
It's got to. It's at the moment, the mentality is we're going down.
Is that a change in formation, you think, Peter? It's got to change.
I would have liked to have seen an attacking coach come in because I don't think that Karanka knows how to attack. He knows how to defend, he knows how to get nil each draws, but he doesn't know how to attack. He doesn't know how to set a team up to attack and score goals. Like when West Ham was struggling, they brought Terry Sheringham in and they start scoring goals. I thought Karanka would bring somebody in to show them how to attack, because I don't think he knows how to.
Can we have a prediction for you from Saturday? I know it's a tough one, mate. Not heart, head. What do you think?
I think the best we could hope for is a draw. I'd love to say we'd win, but I'd like us to go out straight away and go for a win. We didn't start playing till we went 1 behind against West Brom, and then we got a goal. We were passing the ball back in our own half for 10 minutes.
So cheers, thanks for that, Peter. That was the last comment. James made the first comment of the night. What's your prediction, mate? What do you think is going to happen? Everton?
For Saturday, I'd like to see us win 2-1. The only thing that needs to change in regards to us winning 2-1 against Everton on Saturday, we don't score any late goals. We don't score any scruffy goals. That has to change. We need to score someone knocking off somebody's ass, goes in the back of the net, last 10 minutes, gets the crowd up, everyone's walking out that stadium with a smile on their face.
So you think we can do two? You can do them two?
I think we can do it. I think something just has to happen. Someone has to take a little chance. A midfielder has to make that late run in the box. To do like De Roon did at City. It's the only late goal we scored. Do that, something will happen, and that galvanise the team to go and do something.
Okay, thanks for that. Joe, what's your thoughts on the game?
Well, obviously a tight game. Not Borough good at the back, not so good going forward, as you mentioned in the show. But I think Everton are vulnerable at the back. They scored 6 at the weekend, but did concede 3. So I think, especially in those wide areas, Baines and Coleman flying forward from fullback for Everton. If we can get Traore in there, get Ramirez in those gaps, I think Everton are definitely vulnerable. Another thing that me and James were actually talking about before the show was how few goals Middlesbrough have scored from set pieces. I think we said the last goal we actually remember from a set piece was Ayala against Crystal Palace.
Was that from corners?
Yeah, from corners. Yeah. So, and I mean, when you are good defensively, you see it a lot with the likes of West Brom, Stoke. They do score a lot of corners. They're good at the back, but they score a lot of corners, and you just don't feel that Middlesbrough are, when they get a corner or a set play, that they're going to make the most of it. So I think, they're going away for a week in Spain, aren't they, this week? So if they can work on that, it's just an extra dimension to the game that can hopefully get us some more goals.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for that. So we need Gibbo leaping like a salmon at the back post from a corner. I'd be happy with that, but what do you think the score's going to be?
Like as Peter said, and as I said earlier, we all want Borough to win. We need the 3 points. I'll be over the moon if we could come away with a scrappy 1-0 win. And that, like the gentleman said there, if we score in the 89th minute, not a problem at all. If we could come away with 3 points and we nick it, we steal it, we get a penalty that we shouldn't have, we get a free kick that we shouldn't have, we get a little bit of rub of the green, a little bit of luck from the referee, who's bothered? It's 3 points and it's something that we vitally need. So I'm going to stick my neck on the line and I'm going to say 1-0 Borough.
I'd love to, but I think we'll get beat. I'm sorry, mate. I just
trying to be happy and make
I know.
it, you know, it's not-
I know, and I'm going to get back. John Donovan, 12th man's going to absolutely batter me for that one. But unless we change our attitude starting from the off and putting teams under pressure at the Riverside, it lets them relax.
Yeah.
They relax into their own. It's like, well, they're not going to hurt us. They're not really going to push us, so we'll just play our own game. If we start from the off and if we have a go, then we stand a chance. If we don't, we're going to get beaten. And let's see. I hope I'm wrong. I desperately want the Borough to win, but let's see what happens. Fella, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Joe, thank you very much for your time out there asking questions, and thanks to everybody who's turned up at the navigation tonight. RedArmy.tv is going to be on the travels as well next week. We're going to be at the old Ayrton Park home team dressing room. Now, there's a decent one to keep you in suspenders for a week. We'll catch you then. See you.
Come on, boy, we can beat these Saturday. Come on, lads, believe, come on!